So now you guys started strictly doing the models, right? That's how
Yeah.
TurboSquid started.
TurboSquid was
off,
actually
just
rolled
the
out
model.
in 2000, the last year that SIGGRAPH was here. We started strictly as the 3D model content
Now,
for
is that
sale.
was that the part of you? I was looking around for this shirt before when I was packing. I couldn't find my bloody T-shirt. It was TurboSquid. Was it Discrete or Autodesk?
It was Discrete at the time.
Discrete, and then there was a third company, right? There was three companies.
Yeah.
Did this party together? It was here, was it here?
Yeah, it was. It was at Howlin' Wolf, as a matter of fact, downtown. We were there. You know, that's the one thing I think we try and provide for our vendors more than anything else is just unique opportunities. Whether it's, you know, with our relationships with Adobe and Autodesk and Maxon and whatnot, is finding out, you know, can we do content for books? So a lot of the Autodesk learning tools now, we work directly with their publishing team to they scour and kind of send us their wish list of models they'd like to include. We write the vendors and say, hey, we've got an opportunity. You can give away one model to, you know, whatever it is, 15,000, 20,000 people that this book is being printed with, and then you get a credit and a link directly to your entire online library, so it serves as kind of a portfolio starter for you based on what these books are. So
And these are the vendors, the people, the artists.
Yeah,
and
the artists who
TurboSquid,
created the models.
You offer them this kind of opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
We've been very diligent about trying to make sure that we have something other than just being a middleman. I mean, we provide the infrastructure, we provide the business intelligence. We're trying to provide them the opportunity to be successful. I think that's most important. You know,
But I mean, it's
more
more than just a middleman, because you're creating this whole platform,
right,
of which it all operates on. And right from day one, that people could, like, you know, in the very beginning, it was very easy. Anybody could go in and make an account. It was very easy to do that and set that up, and then put your stuff up there, and it's free. I mean, not everywhere. Most places it's not free. If somebody wants to make money, they got to pay money to make money. So this kind of thing is good.
Yep. No, that was our entire focus. You know, we were very diligent in building the relationships with the 3D manufacturers, because this is where that content goes.
Right.
And if we can find out different avenues to get that content into people's hands, the people who need it, so much the better. You know, a lot of the copycat sites take our website and design and word for word, and they knock it and they give more royalties, but you know, what's the end game? They're not, you know,
if they don't have the market, if they don't have, you know, enough people coming to them and knowing about it,
they're
sometimes
just
I
looking
see
to
that
make
somebody,
money as thinking it's kind of its own little world. They're not looking beyond the idea of it being a community and looking out for the vendors, trying to figure out how do you make it so that the vendors can be successful? What are the ways that you can innovate to do that? Most of them are just literally kind of taking ideas from what we're producing and go from there. So we just keep doing what we're doing.
Now, the beginning you were doing, it was strictly the models. Vendors, artists would come to you guys and sell the stuff.
Right.
And at some point then you expanded into doing the plugins. How long was it just purely models, and then you expanded into the
first 2 years, from 2000 to the beginning of 2002, was models and textures only. And then I was hired in September of 2002, so I've been here almost 7 years now. And I turnkeyed the entire software side, the whole Autodesk relationship, because that's who I'd worked with forever, and I knew all the players over there. And when we originally were going to do it, it was going to be Autodesk plugins. They weren't going to be independent plugins sold that way. We were going to actually do all the certification for Autodesk and turn the plugins over to them, and they would be called Sparks. And just before that occurred, they hit the reset button and said, we can't do this. There's too many problems with doing it this way.
Right.
And so we kind of went, okay, great. I'm going, oh my God, I almost have a job. So we went back to the drawing board and we came up with the idea of the discrete certified plugins, DCP program at the time. Said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to provide a very small subset of vendors, of plugin developers, a pipeline so that they can spend their time coding, which is becoming more and more difficult. The length of time it takes to create something that's really cool now takes longer, and with Autodesk releasing new versions of the software every year, keeping up has become, it's harder to innovate in that time frame. So we're like, look, we need to provide them with everything else they need, whether it's testing, installs, the protection system so that it's ubiquitous across all the plugins so that they work exactly the same way. Writing the documentation, doing the sales, doing frontline technical support, and only contacting the developer if there are bugs that we can't solve. We took a lot of that onus off of doing the marketing, being president of shows like SIGGRAPH on their behalf to promote their technology.
And you're still doing all that kind of stuff.
In the case of Sig Exciting, they've got Fume Effects, one of the best plugins out there right now for fire and smoke and whatnot. And I don't know if you guys have seen the Star Wars Old Republic cinematic lately that they've shown on E3 and all over the place, where you've got this big giant spaceship crashing through the Jedi Temple, and there's fire and smoke and explosions.
What is that? It's not from the movie.
It's not. It's from a game. It's from an upcoming game. But that cinematic was done by Blur, and Blur uses Fume Effects insanely. They push it way beyond its breaking point. In fact, I know the guy who uses it very well. He's a friend of mine named Brandon Risa. Great guy. But they push it to the nth degree, and they're finding things all the time that help make the tools better in production. I mean, we're getting real companies using it in real-world situations. 2012 uses Fume Effects and Afterburn and all those things.
And they feed the information back to the developers on what could be improved or where there's bugs. They'll find bugs in it because they really push it to the limit.
Absolutely. So that's kind of that's part of the fun of doing this, is that you just get to see what the real artists get to do.
How big is Blur?
Oh, they're big. They're big now, 100 and some odd people.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know Neil Blevins started at Blur, and he's been at Pixar now for 7 years.
Yep, absolutely. Blur turns out talented folks, I tell you what. Tim and Dave, who I've known since the early DOS days, those guys, they've grown a company that's phenomenal. They just crank through some quality work, though. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah. Didn't they do one, there was an animated short at SIGGRAPH a year or two ago, like a groundhog or something like that?
Oh, yeah.
That was the big one for the show. What was that one?
They released that on 3D
Road.
That was
Go for Broke.
Go for Broke. Yeah, that was a great one.
Go for Broke. They had In the Rough, which was the caveman. They did Gentleman's Duel, which was recent, which are the two kind of antique fighting mechs.
Is that a brand new one?
No, that one's been out for a little while as well.
Probably at SIGGRAPH last year, was it?
2 years ago, I think.
2 years ago.
Yeah. And then they did Rockfish before that. That was one of the early ones. It was amazing. So, yeah, they continue to expand and push the limits, so it's a lot of fun.